Hey, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name's Alex. I make videos around interior design and intentional living. Today we're taking a deep dive on my personal favorite Pinterest board. This is my interior design inspiration board. It's where for the past, I would say, year and a half, I've been saving images that I think just really align with my personal taste, or just images with elements that I think would be easy to recreate in your own home. I am not a big fan of trends when it comes to home decor, so I want to be really clear that today's video is going to be talking about images on this board that I think transcend trends. These are interiors and images that have real style and things that are actually attainable for you to recreate in your home. This is not going to be a video where you see trendy interiors that you can go out and shop from lots of big box stores. I have lots of different boards on Pinterest that are specific to my home or certain rooms in my home, but I actually created this particular board with the intent of saving images that made me feel something. Whether or not I was hoping to recreate the look in my home, I just really like the feeling, whether that was like a warm, welcoming feeling or just a feeling of home in the image. So that's why I started compiling all of these images on a board. But now I have to say, I find myself referring back to it in my home as opposed to some of the more specific mood boards that I have created on Pinterest. Sometimes I think we can almost get tunnel vision when we're on this app, and it's really easy to fall into a bit of an echo chamber around certain design styles. So when I stopped looking for specifics in my pins and just started kind of willy-nilly saving images to this board just because I liked them, that's when I really started to feel like my style was coming together and I was actually understanding what I was looking to achieve in my home. One of the things that I absolutely love about all of the images on this board is none of them are what I would call picture perfect or like Pinterest royalty photos. These really are images of real people's homes that I think are really approachable and really attainable if you're trying to recreate something that you see in an image. The other thing that I absolutely love about this specific Pinterest board is once I started curating some of these images and really started diving into this particular board as my go-to for a lot of my inspiration, I have found a shift in my feed on Pinterest. Even when I search certain like generic words, I notice that I am getting different images that pop up on my main feed now. So this has just been a great way to get myself out of that echo chamber on Pinterest and start to see other images that I might not have seen if I wasn't trying to kind of push the boundaries of what I was looking for on this app. If you find yourself feeling uninspired by what you see on Pinterest lately, definitely head to my page and check out this board. Simply by saving some of these pins or just diving deeper into common photos to what's shown on this board, it can really help change what is shown in the algorithm of your Pinterest feed. So definitely check it out. I think it would be a great resource if you're just trying to find something different and something new than what you typically see on the first page when you open the app. Okay, so the very first image that I actually want to have a closer look at is this one here. For so many reasons, I love this interior shot, but specifically, I really do love the idea of painting trim a different color. I just feel like for so long now, white walls has been the way to go. And if you do have white walls, sometimes it can feel like a big commitment to pick a new color for these spaces. But if you focus instead on the trim, I find this can be a really high impact way to add more contrast, to have fun with color in your space. So I absolutely love that about this picture. I actually recently painted my bedroom and I did pull a fun pop of color to do around my window trim just like this. I have actually received a few comments about doing a home tour. I definitely plan to this year. I'm thinking potentially sometime in the spring. But to be completely honest, I am in the middle of a few projects around here. So I just kind of want to get some of those done before I do a full home tour. So just planting the seed as we go through this video. Some of these elements I have started incorporating in my home. So stay tuned for the home tour where you might be able to see some of them in a real space. Another thing that I really love about this space is the fact that they've almost done like a bead board on one of the walls, and they've covered those closet doors. This would be a super easy DIY to just add a little bit of dimension to a really flat room, and then painting it a contrasting color. Again, it's just adding so many more layers to the space. As you can see on this board, there is a theme of having a contrasting colored trim throughout the room. Now, this particular image I really like because it does have a glass exterior door, and I really like the use of adding the curtain over the door. I think this is a fun way of layering the space and adding a pattern, but it's just super functional. When you do want some privacy, you can close that curtain and it just looks really beautiful whether it's open or closed. Okay, and then the other image I really love is this one here. The funny thing I found about this image is actually the detail over the door. If that detail wasn't there, this actually would look like a pretty basic space. There is really high baseboards and the molding details throughout do look nice. But if that element wasn't there, it would look pretty basic. And it actually gets my mind going that this would be, again, a really simple DIY that you could add above your door frame to just give your home so much more character. I actually just want to check if you can just buy these off of like Amazon or Wayfair. Let's call it over the door molding? Door molding? Yeah, literally look at this. Millwork segment arch on Wayfair. It is $250. But you can get so many different styles. So yeah, like $250, you could purchase something like this off of Amazon. You can put it above your door, paint it a fun color, and paint this to match. I think that would be so regal. It just makes your space look so finished and so cute. So I am actually going to keep this in mind for my own space, but I love that so much. Okay, so having a look at some of the other images here, this one is very similar with the painted molding and the painted trim throughout, but I really love the use of a wallpaper in the entire room like this. And I like the shot that it's going through the hallway and into the next bedroom because it really does show you how well colors can translate from room to room. And even though you might look at a swatch of wallpaper with this green paint and feel like, oh my God, this is like gonna overpower a home, when you see it in a space like this, you can see that adding color doesn't overpower a home. If anything, it just livens the space. It makes it feel so much more special than just like an all over white box. And on the topic of wallpaper, this image I am actually trying to recreate basically verbatim in my own home. So I do have a hallway that looks just like this that goes to all of our bedrooms. And I do have a plan that I'm going to do a fun striped wallpaper just like this on all of the walls. Because there are so many doors down a hallway, I actually think it's surprising how little wallpaper you actually need to purchase to cover this area. I just feel it's a lot more inexpensive to do a hallway than it is to do a whole room where you've got large walls to cover. And when you go with a fun wallpaper in a hallway, I just feel like when you enter into the rooms, you have so many more options to play with color and pattern because you're going from a fun area into each individual room. Okay, so having a look for my next image here, I really love this one. I feel like this is almost the embodiment of what I was saying about an image feeling like home. You don't necessarily look at this interior and feel like you could go out and buy all of the pieces that are here. Like, this looks very curated, it looks very collected. Everything in the picture really does look like it could have been bought from a thrift store or off of Facebook Marketplace. So I love looking at spaces that don't seem like they're just thrown together. Like, a lot of time and thought went into each piece that's shown. One item to note is the fact that there are several different wood shades in this image. I absolutely love looking at interiors that do this because sometimes in my own home, it can sometimes feel like once you select one shade of wood, you do feel like you need to replicate that throughout every other wood piece in your home. But this really goes to show you that you don't need to do that. There's still balance even if you're using different shades of wood. And even the side table that's shown with the lamp on it, I actually think this is painted with like a contrasting teal or green shade. There's also a few accessory elements that are really well done in this image. I love the beeswax candle. It's just a nice break from your standard white candle. So the beeswax adds a lot of warmth. The other element I love in this image is the chinoiserie. So this is a term I have come to know just from creating this board. It seems to be a common theme in interiors that I really love. So I love the use of it in this image. And it is something I've pulled into my own home from creating this exercise. Looking at some of the other images on my board, I have noticed a common theme is creating full walls of bookshelves, just like this one here. This image, I have a feeling, is showing a little bit more of a vintage bookshelf unit, but this is actually really easy to recreate just from going to Home Depot. I even think IKEA makes a product that's similar to this. It's just an adjustable shelf unit, and even if you get this in white and you decided to paint your room, this would be a really fun thing to paint the same color as the rest of your walls, so it feels built in and very intentional. If you're starting your home with a blank slate and you don't have any home decor in a particular room, I find this to be a really easy way to start. Once you have some shelving set up, you can start displaying things like books or other personal items in a way that takes it out of boxes and off the floor and onto the wall and really intentional. But you always can be swapping them out. So even if you don't get it right the first time around, you can constantly be curating these shelves exactly to your liking. And you can always switch up the decor you put on there when you actually start to finish the rest of the space. This particular one is one that I really love. I just feel like fresh flowers can elevate any space. This image would not be the same if those bright yellow tulips weren't sitting there. So at certain times of year, or if you're having people over and you're just looking for that final touch in a space, fresh flowers can often be just that final element that's going to make the whole space come together. I actually saved this image because I am hoping to do this same kind of concept in my own home by finding a vintage textile and draping it over my sectional. From this picture, you can kind of see it's just a very basic white couch, but draping that striped fabric just livens up the space. It's adding an extra layer, and I feel like you can even see here there's a cat sleeping on it. If you do have pets or other animals and you have a textile on your sofa, it's just so much easier to take that off and wash it every week instead of constantly feeling the need to vacuum or wash your couch. So it just adds another level of hygiene in my opinion. I also want to call attention to the lamp in the back of the photo. To me, this genuinely looks like a thrifted lamp or purchased from a vintage store, and then they've done like a DIY painting on the actual lamp shade. This is a really fun and inexpensive way of adding just a cute twist in the room and adding your own personality. And again, when you're finding things at thrift stores or you're adding a little DIY element, it doesn't take much to create a really cute element in your room. So another theme that I have come to find on this board, and something that I'm just finding out about myself, is I actually love the look of a cluttered kitchen. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say the word cluttered kitchen because genuinely I hate clutter. But I love the look of like knickknacks and fun little personal trinkets sitting around the kitchen. I think there's just something about walking into a kitchen that feels like people actually live here, like food is actually being prepared here and there's love and care being put into this space. I don't know, it just genuinely makes the home feel more like a home and less like something you see in a magazine. This is another really fun picture of a kitchen that's got a ton of knickknacks and other things hanging around. I love the use of open shelving in a kitchen. Lots of people are going away from open shelving in the kitchen now just because they feel like they can't keep it looking perfect all the time. But I think this image shows a great example that it doesn't have to look perfect for it to really make a big impact in your home. So here's another one of my favorite images here. I saved this for one particular reason, and it is the clock that's hanging up. I just think this is such a fun touch. It's an unexpected accessory. And when I save images like this and I know like, wow, that's a really cool piece, when I go out thrifting or I go to vintage shops, this is something that I'm actually looking out for because I've clocked it in an image like this. And sometimes when you find yourself on the really generic side of Pinterest, you're not seeing these fun little unexpected pops. So you're not really keeping them top of mind or considering finding some of these items when you're out and about and shopping. I will also say I love an armoire, and I did actually purchase one for my own home, and it is in my entryway. So this is a great piece of furniture if you're looking for more storage or you're looking for an antique piece with high impact. All day long, I would recommend an armoire. And you can usually find so many great options on Facebook Marketplace that are pretty inexpensive. That's where I got mine. I absolutely love it. Okay, this next image, I don't have a ton in particular to say about this image, but I just think this really hits home on the feeling of warmth and feeling like a welcoming space. There's nothing in particular in this home that really makes it feel like it is overly styled or like this is the pinnacle of good interior design. In my opinion, this just shows the definition of what home feels like. There is just nothing in this image that makes me feel like I'm not going to have a good time in this space. And I think that's just such a really powerful emotion to evoke in your home. Sometimes I feel like we get almost too hyper focused on the actual design of the space, and we're missing the entire context of how we want a home to feel. And this just shows so well when a home feels welcoming and warm. This really creates those emotions, and it really doesn't feel super planned or overly done. Going through some of the other images here, this is one that I really like because it has this fun pop of red. Though I said I am not a big fan of trendy home decor, this has been a trend that I've heard is going to be big in 2024, and it's having an unexpected pop of red in your home. I personally do agree with this trend, and not so much in the sense that this is going to be trendy for a little bit and go away. It's more so that when you do add a fun, bold, unexpected pop of color, it just adds so much dimension to the space. And if you do feel like the use of wood starts to feel a little bit heavy, painting a wood piece in a bright, fun color is a great way to break it up. An unexpected pop of color also helps a space. So if you feel like your space is starting to look a little formal or a little fussy, if you do add a piece in a fun color, it really just makes it a little bit more approachable, a little bit more fun, and it takes some of the seriousness out of your home decor. The other thing I absolutely love about this board is it has helped me flag different furniture pieces that I can look out for when I am shopping on Facebook Marketplace or thrifting. For example, I absolutely love this chair, so I did a deep dive on my Facebook Marketplace just to see if I could find anything similar. I found at least 4. They were all super affordable and could easily be repainted in a fun color like this. So it is nice when you start compiling some of these images on a board like this. When you go back through and start pinpointing some of the items you really like, it does make it a lot easier when you are shopping to have a reference point of pieces you've seen, you know you love, and that you actually have ideas for in executing in your space. So as we've been going through the board here, I have wondered when my favorite kitchen image was going to pop up, and here it is. I love this kitchen so much. I have shown this to my husband several times to say, this is what I want our kitchen to look like. I just want to live here so much. There's so many different elements that I think are just so well done. The first of which is the open shelving, and I love how unfussy the storage is on this shelf. It's just so fun to display mix and match pottery or ceramic pieces. I like the cookbooks displayed here as well. I also love that there's so many different metal finishes in this space. I just feel like in a home that's curated and that's taken time to decorate, you're always going to wind up with a few different metal finishes. So this is just like wood tones. Sometimes it feels like once you pick one, you have to stick with that throughout the space. But again, this image shows you. So we've got pewter on the cabinetry handles. We've got polished nickel on the sink faucet, as well as that towel bar. And then we've got some brass on the lighting and then stainless steel on the appliances. So right there, that's like 5 different metal finishes, and they're all coexisting in a space, and they look stunning together. The other thing I think is really well done is the fact that there are 3 different flowers in the room, and then there's even, I think this is lavender on the windowsill. So having those fresh elements really can help pull the space together. Of course, this is just staged for the photo shoot, I'm sure. So even having the vegetables displayed on the counter looks great. And I love having a giant stock pot just sitting on your stove. I think this is so chic, and it really makes it look and feel like a chef's kitchen. Like, people here make food. There is things happening in this kitchen. It's not just a clean space that is only good for photography. So talking again about unexpected pops of color, this image I love. Again, this could be just like a thrifted armoire or an armoire you could find on Facebook Marketplace, but painting it that fun sunshine yellow just would add so much dimension to the space. I do feel like, along with red, this particular shade, like this buttery shade of yellow, this sunshiny yellow, is definitely one I think we're going to see more of in the coming years. And genuinely, I just think people are protesting the entire white house, and by painting a piece of furniture, it is a lot easier than repainting an entire room, and it just has such high impact. So the other theme that I find on this board, and I'm not even going to open a particular image, but just stopping here so you can see all of the kind of knickknacks and the accessorizing in all of these spaces. I have just been loving maximalism lately. By nature, I am definitely more of a minimalist. Like, I definitely have rooms in my home that have had no furniture in them. Even my husband's office, it's like just one little sad desk with his computer. But that being said, I love knickknacks. I think small accessories like this just add so much personality to the space. So that's definitely been a common theme I have found on this board as I scroll through. I see tons of little accessories and fun little ways of showcasing pieces throughout your home. So that's my decor inspo board on Pinterest. Definitely head to my page there if you do want to check out any of these pins in greater detail, or if you are trying to get to this side of Pinterest, go ahead and just pin a bunch of these pins, and hopefully this board will help get you closer to that direction. I do have some home updates in the works, and like I mentioned, I am planning to do a home tour, hopefully sometime by the spring. A lot of my current home projects have been inspired by this board, so definitely stay tuned if you want to see how some of this inspiration has translated into my own space. I'm pretty quiet on Instagram in general, but with some of these projects coming up the pipe, I think I am going to be reaching out a little bit more to my audience there, just for some advice and get your guys' opinions on some of the design decisions I'm making in my own home. So if you're interested in participating in any of those design decisions, definitely head to my IG, where I'll be sharing most of that info in my stories. As always, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more interior design and intentional lifestyle content. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.